Welcome back to episode 5. Now, in this episode, we are looking at annotation. So, whatever we draw that is not part of the actual drawing, that is, when we have texts, we have dimensions, we have leaders, and then some labels, they are called annotation. So, how do we add annotation to AutoCAD? So, let's first start by looking at how to add texts to your drawing. To add a text, we select one of the options. Here we use the multi-line option, where we are going to draw a rectangle, and then AutoCAD will allow us to start adding the text. We can decide to modify or make changes to how the text will look like before we start typing, or we can finish typing and then select the text, and we can edit or format the text as we see fit. After typing, we select the text to edit it, and we have a lot of editing and formatting options at the top that we can play with. So we can edit things like the font size, the color of the text. We can even add some bullets and numbers. We can do justification, and then we can orient the text anyhow we want. We can also decide to add symbols in AutoCAD. So something like the art, the copyright, any symbol at all that you want to add, you can add it directly in AutoCAD. Or you can even type the symbol shortcuts, and AutoCAD will automatically recognize it and add it to your text. Once you finish whatever you are doing with the text, either you click outside the text box or you go to the close text editor and you are done with that particular text. We can also move or copy text around just like we would for lines or other objects. To modify an existing text, all we do is to double click on that text, then the text opens and we can edit or format that text as we see fit. Then the next thing is to look at how to add dimensions to our drawing. So to add dimensions, we have the general one, which can be used for any type of dimension depending on how we use it. Or for a beginner, I would always recommend that we go to the targeted ones, which look at how to add linear dimensions, align dimensions. We can add angles, we can add the radius or the diameter of circles, or even for arcs. So those ones give us targeted options that we can go to. To use any of the dimension tools, all you do is select the particular one that you need, and then you go to the object. If let's say it is a rectangle that we want to get the length or the width, we just select the two ends and then we pull the crosshair out or in, depending on how you want the dimension to look like on paper. Then let's look at another important one, which is the leaders. The leader tool is basically an arrow that points at objects, and AutoCAD allows us to name those points. As part of the leader tool, you can either add leader or remove leader, or you can also align the leaders to a vertical or horizontal line so that the work looks neat. The add leader tool allows us to name multiple objects that have the same name. So what you do is to first select the add leader option, then you go to any of the leaders, and AutoCAD allows you to select as many points or as many parts of the object or your screen as you want, and they all have the same name. And just as we can add leaders, we can also remove leaders from an existing number of leaders. So you can play around the add leader and the remove leader tools. Then let's look at the last tool for this episode, which is the table tool. So just like we can do in any Word application software, we can also add table to our drawing depending on what we are doing. To add a table, just click on the table tool first. Then AutoCAD opens a dialog box where we can edit the number of rows, the number of columns. We can edit the height of the rows and the width of the columns. Then we can also change the behavior of the table. That is, what happens on the first row, what text we are expecting to get on the second row, and other options that we can change in the dialog box. Once we are finished with setting up the table, we press OK, and then AutoCAD allows us to place the table anywhere on the screen so that we can edit the text in the table. The annotation tools that we looked at are the annotation under the Home tab. There is a dedicated annotation tab which contains other tools that we can use in other drawings. Later on, we'll see how important those tools are and where we can apply them in our drawings.